Hi, folks. Welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, it's starting off like a beautiful day here. Looks to be that's going to be that way all day. But we do have some weather coming in a few days, probably several days of rain. But it's just that time of the year that we get a lot of that. We're a little later than normal, but still, this is the time of the year we get a lot of rain, and looks like we've got another flooding chance in a few days. I want to mention that our monthly meeting is this Sunday, April 27th, this Sunday. So if you can make it, please do. Meeting starts at 2. It's a potluck, family friendly. If you're a vendor, we have free vendor tables. It's first come, first serve. But there's usually numerous people there setting up with their wares. It's a good way to, encourage an open market. So if you have that, go ahead and bring it. But yeah, this Sunday, try to make it if you can. It should be a really good one. So I guess we'll start off with this. Yesterday, within approximately a 24-hour period, not quite, but approximately a 24-hour period, gold broke above $3,400 and then again broke above $3,500. It's come down out of the 3,500 range, but still doing really strong. I don't think a lot of people quite realize how serious that is. I'm not saying bad necessarily, but very serious. It means that your currency is becoming less and less valuable. The world is turning away from the U.S. dollar. U.S. treasuries are being sold off. Even Japan is kind of hinting around at that. They've been selling off, but they're even though they're very much aligned with the United States when it comes to just getting along, there's signs showing that it's not as solid as what you think. But yeah, $3,500 an ounce gold. That's pretty significant, and it's going to start having some real waves across everything, and it already has. There's so many things that's kind of come out that's just showing the weakness in the economy, and especially the U.S. dollar. 3,400%. That's 3,400%. Tariff has been imposed upon solar cells coming from China, and a lot of solar cells come from China. So 3,400% tariff now. A docking fee of over $5 million. That's right, $5 million docking fee has now been imposed upon Chinese oil tankers. If they want to dock at a U.S. dock, they have to pay $5 million. Now, I know we don't get a lot of oil from China, but still, things are starting to slow down, or at least show signs. That's the thing. We're starting to see signs now. It's been long enough. Said about 30 days or so, we'd start to kind of see little signs of it. It's the big impact of all of this has not quite really trickled down to the average consumer, you and I. I mean, some prices have gone up, but it's not quite impacted. It takes a while for this kind of stuff. The tariffs and all that kind of stuff is at the top end of the supply chain. You and I are at the bottom end. So it takes a little bit for it to trickle down. But there are signs that that's happening. DHL, which is one of the biggest international shippers, the stuff that come into the United States, is saying now that they are discontinuing shipping any consumer shipments over $800 in value. So if you have ordered something from overseas or plan on it and it has a value of $800 or more, they will not be handling it because of the tariffs. There's already talk within the trucking and shipping and logistics world of things starting to dramatically slow down in the very near future because of all this. Think about it. I mean, again, I've been trying to tell you, there's more to it than just saying, well, we don't want all this Chinese junk. The fact is a lot of stuff comes from overseas, not just China, but overseas. And if we start to cut that off or we slow it down dramatically, it's not just that people will either do without or start trying to find an American product, there's a lot of in between there. How many jobs, trucking, rail, shipping, all of that, it's going to start dramatically affecting those. And affecting those individual people and the jobs, and it's the whole supply chain. It's going to dramatically affect it, and it has already. So, and I suspect it will continue to get worse. So that's something that's happening, and will most likely continue to get worse. And in just regards with the economy, yesterday the Trump administration announced that they will start collecting on a bunch of backlogged, delinquent Department of Education loans. So student loans that were kind of put on hold during the COVID stuff. And then there was this back and forth during Biden of whether he was going to, delete all of those loans or not. Some of them did, a lot of them didn't. Well, a lot of people haven't been paying their student loans. And listen, I am not advocating people to not pay them. I'm not advocating the government to wipe them clear, because that means you and I pay them. But the reality is, remember, good things can have negative consequences also. The reality is that there's a lot of people that's not been paying them. And it's not like they've just not been paying them and putting that money in a nest egg. They've been spending that money. They may have gone into other debt, taking out credit cards and car loans that took the place of the money that they were putting into that loan every month. And so now the government is saying it's time to start paying. Again, I'm not opposed to that, but we have to realize that that's going to impact the economy. It's going to impact the average person. There's a lot of people that have stopped paying it for years, and they now have gotten their budget used to not paying it. And so if they were made to pay their student loans, they may not be able to. It's going to put up financial hardship. So that's happening. We're going to call up 5 million, approximately 5 million student loans. So there's a lot of stuff going on. And it seems to be quite significant. I mean, there's just, it's like every day there's some kind of new crazy thing that's going on. Some of it's good, some of it's bad, but all definitely crazy. Look at again, I hate mentioning it because it is what it is, but the stock market, we're on track this month of April to be the lowest month in the stock market, lowest April in the stock market since the Great Depression, since 1932. The stock market in its history has only lost $1,000 a day 11 times. $1,000 or 1,000 points in one day 11 times. 4 of those 11 times have happened in the month of April. So there's a lot of significant just breakdown of the economy, breakdown of the dollar. People are starting to really wake up and realize that things aren't going so well. And recession, depression, collapse, brand new currency that we don't know yet. There's so many uncertainties. And like I was saying yesterday, the average person, some of them are kind of starting to notice. At some point, more will start to notice. And why? Because they feel it, because it's really hurting them. And that's when things will start to get a little crazy. And that's when we should really start being concerned. Yesterday, an article came out in the news that over 60% of Americans are on some type of prescription medication. And the president has said recently that he's getting ready to impose tariffs on pharmaceuticals. And I've talked about this many times in the past. That right there is an example of a very real threat for you and I when things start to collapse, whether it be through excessive tariffs, the economy collapsing. 85+% of our pharmaceuticals come from China. And if that supply chain gets greatly disrupted, what about all those people on pharmaceuticals? Yes, most of them, they're either not going to feel well or they may not even survive. But there's a lot of those people on pharmaceuticals that are psychotropic type of pharmaceuticals. How many people could potentially start to mentally become very unstable? These are the kinds of things that happen in a collapse. They're just a few examples, but they are examples of what can happen. And because our system, while it's become bloated and inefficient and corrupt and all this kind of stuff, it is what it is. And when you start breaking that down and ripping that apart, there will definitely be serious consequences. The outcome on the other side may possibly be good. We don't know yet. It doesn't seem as likely that it's going to turn out good as what a lot of people thought in the beginning of all of this, but it's still possible. But regardless of that, the hardship and the pain that's going to ensue in the middle, that's going to be bad. And we're getting into that point. It's starting to take effect. The world is starting to notice that the U.S. currency is not a good deal. Yesterday, I think it was Macron from France, and I know, that he says a lot of stuff, and he's a wackadoo liberal and all that kind of stuff, him and his handler wife and everything. But he said that the euro is going to overtake the U.S. dollar as being the top currency. And at this point, there's probably several contenders, because the U.S. dollar is weakening just daily. The value of the dollar is just going down and down and down. And so I don't think the average American, in fact, I know the average American has no clue what that means and how bad it's going to be. And I'd say even a lot of preppers don't fully comprehend how bad that's going to be when the dollar is unseated from its global reserve currency position, and then it starts dramatically losing value. It's going to be tough, and we need to be prepared for that. You need to be getting yourself ready, becoming as self-sufficient as you can, so that you're not as tethered to that system. The more self-sufficient you are, that means the more you have control over your life, control over your survivability, because you're doing things for yourself. You're creating things, you're growing things, you're fixing things, you're making things. And it's not 100% for most people, but it can be enough to survive a serious collapse of our economy, of our dollar, of society even. And so that's why we have to be doing that. You need to be getting yourself as self-sufficient as possible, developing the skills, honing those skills, all of that. That needs to be your big goal this year, is to get as capable as possible of living on your own. It doesn't mean you have to be living on your own right now or living separated from the system. You just need to get to where you can be as capable as possible, because this house of cards looks like it's coming down a lot faster than a lot of people think. Folks, it's time to get your houses in order and prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.